It has been a wild ride when it comes to this summer's weather. An intense heat wave resulted in the world's hottest week ever recorded at the beginning of July, and forecasters say there's more to come.
And joining us now, here's Global's Chief Meteorologist Anthony Farnell. Anthony, good morning to you. And let's start right here at home, because we've seen everything from wildfires to tornadoes and extreme flooding. What is the weather situation here in Canada right now?
Yeah, it's actually getting a little bit better. It's hard to get worse. I don't even want to think about what worse would be, but it has been, as you mentioned, just an incredible summer, and we've packed a lot in considering we're only in mid-July. And one thing that really stands out for me, the fact the sky is blue behind me, is an anomaly this year in Toronto and other areas as well. Air quality has improved recently on this day, but it has not been the case for much of the summer. So I do want to start there. And the extremes as far as the temperature goes aren't that bad today. And I do want to emphasize today and maybe tomorrow, but heat will be building out west once again towards the weekend. The rain is coming to an end, and this is a satellite imagery that I captured, or that I grabbed from the web yesterday, and it basically paints a picture. What you see in the white color, that is clouds. That's typical stuff. Yet all of that gray, that is smoke, and it extends all the way down to the panhandle of Florida. There's actually alerts in place for Atlanta, Georgia for poor air quality up and down the East Coast. And all of this is now originating from these fires that are mostly burning in Western Canada, and all of the Northwest Territories blanketed in smoke as well. This is where some of the extremes have been reached this month of July. 37, 38 degrees up by the Arctic Circle. So a lot of fires burning, and that smoke has to go somewhere, and it all goes with the wind flow. So fires continue to be the big threat, as we now have surpassed 10,000 or 10 million hectares, and we're on our way to this record season, guys.
Not only smoke advisories in the States because of our fires, but let's talk about the heat waves that are going on in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, and these heat domes have become way more common than even a decade ago, and we all know in Canada what happened in BC a couple of years ago, the record temperatures, the fact that we almost hit 50 degrees in our country. Well, 50 degrees is the forecast high in a place like Death Valley basically every day this month of July. That's one heat dome. There's another one over South Florida, and water temperatures there about 97 degrees Fahrenheit. That's basically like a hot tub. If you just try and get some relief from the heat in the water, it's not happening. So these heat domes are a big concern, and they don't move very quickly, Carolyn, and that's something that I think climate change has made worse. And they're often occurring in areas that there isn't much leeway. If it gets any hotter in the hottest part of summer, humans start to suffer everywhere.
For sure, for sure. And Europe, by the way, Anthony, not immune to this either. What is the situation there right now?
Yeah, and for Canadians in particular, this is a busy travel time. If you're heading down to the Mediterranean, whether it's Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, all of these countries are facing the brunt of it. So I want to go right back to our weather system. You can see the two heat domes in North America, but that's not it. As we continue just north of the equator, there's another heat dome that's encompassing much of northern Africa, extending up into Europe, and this is basically a Saharan air. So what does that mean? It's very hot, it's very dry. It goes to record levels, 46 to 48 degrees for islands like Sardinia, over towards Sicily, the southern part of Italy as well, perhaps breaking records in Rome. That's another heat dome. It's not over. If you know anybody in northern India, or even perhaps in Southeast Asia, these are areas of concern, and they have been in some cases for quite some time. And this is the hottest time of year north of the equator, and it's going to continue, I think, into the month of August. So a lot of heat in southern Europe in particular, but it may expand north again later next week.
And Anthony, I was just going to ask you about that. When can we see the cycle breaking? I mean, the Earth hasn't experienced anything like this since the mid-1800s, when air temperatures were first recorded. So when can we see an end to this?
Yeah, well, an end is all relative, right? We are headed into a warmer climate that has become increasingly a high confidence level, not just for meteorologists, climatologists, and just scientists in general that study this for a living. And the big concern, Carolyn, has to do with El Nino. And we have just come off 3 years of La Nina. That's cool water in the Pacific. The Pacific is the largest ocean on the planet. So when it heats up, it affects the climate everywhere. So let's just look back at the weather system. This is anomalies compared to normal. You have to do that because it's July. Of course the water's warm everywhere, but it's warmer than normal, in some cases by record amounts, like in the Atlantic, just off Newfoundland, 5 to 10 degrees above average, the Mediterranean as well. So all of this plays a role, and it leads to these record temperatures lingering longer, and I think the worst is ahead for next year before maybe we get some relief temporarily as everything goes in cycles. But we are headed up the stairs, and that is a scary thing, especially for the month of July, guys.
All right, Anthony Farnell, appreciate the update. I was going to say keep cool, but he's one of the coolest guys we know. Anthony, thanks as always. Good to see you this morning.
I should get off my rooftop, Jeff. I'm on the black asphalt. Bad idea.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Anthony.